Hello, and welcome to Old Scary World. Tonight we'll be looking at the mysterious living rocks of Romania. Bizarre Trovant stones give birth to new stones growing up to 2 inches every 1,000 years, according to this article from the dailymail.com. I think this is the UK edition, I'm not sure. The point is that I found this article and I thought it was somewhat relevant, and I've been doing these videos where we talk about stuff in the news just to kind of give it some, I wouldn't call it validity, but it makes it easier for the normie NPC type people to kind of, it allows you to kind of get an inch in the conversation. So continuing here, it says, they look like something from an alien plantation on another planet, but the living rocks of Romania, known as the Trovants, really are of this earth, and they're naturally formed by geological processes. Starting out as pebbles and growing about 2 inches per millennium, the Trovant stones are unique mineral structures that mimic plant and mammal life. The bizarre bulbous stones almost appear to grow in the same way as plant tissue, and they give birth to new stones just like an animal. So that's really interesting, because we talk about the living stones and what are stones and what are mountains and what are the stone giants and all that kind of stuff. And 2 inches every 1,000 years isn't exactly startling, I suppose. But what if they're manipulating that? What if these things aren't that old? Obviously, would be the question, why this would lead credence to some of the theories and the stories that are out there. So I don't know if I'm going to read the whole article. We can go back to these pictures here. But the Trovant stones are found in a small Romanian village called Costinaste. I tried to look up the pronunciation, and it's something like Costeste, about 50 miles away from the capital Bucharest. They look like blown bubbles made of rock and vary greatly in size, some spanning several feet in diameter, others small enough to fit the palm of your hand. Yeah, I looked that up. Actually, you can buy these things. There's people that sell them online. That's kind of interesting. I might actually do that myself. But anyways, the Trovants from Romania have very different ages. Dr. Mihai Tecleau at the Geological Institute of Romania told Mail Online, Trovants do not simply appear from the ground. They are present in the mass of sands of different geological ages which reach natural outcrops or in sand quarries. Trovants is a synonym for the German term Sandsteinkraftgrund, which means cemented sand. Okay, that makes sense. The word Trovant is used for the first time in geological literature from Romania, said Dr. Tecleau. Visitors of the Costes site can walk by the large variety of spherical and iridescent Trovant stones which grow slowly over time in the presence of rainwater. And then there's some more pictures. Visitors site walk by the large variety of spherical and ellipsoidal Trovant stones which grow slowly over time in the presence of rain. Okay, that's what we just said. And then that's what that said. Okay, about the German word. They are mainly composed of a hard stone core surrounded by sand that forms the shell. Minerals and rainwater form a reaction within that builds the pressure inside, which makes the rock grow and multiply. Much like the rings made up of the girth of trees, the Trovants reveal layers when cut into, each representing a period of growth. Although not alive in the scientific sense, locals and tourists alike have described them as living because in a way they appear to change with time. Okay, so that's interesting. So it's almost like people do notice it. So even though they only supposedly grow 2 inches per 1,000 years, they still notice change throughout their lifetime. Costesti isn't the only location where the Trovant stones are found. A study co-authored by Dr. Tecleau describes them all over the Carpathian area of Romania. So yeah, the Carpathian area, just for those who don't know real quick, side note, the Carpathian Mountains is the mountain range that's in Eastern Europe and Romania and Hungary, and the Carpathia area is the area around the Carpathian Mountains, and that's like where Transylvania is. So there's obviously some connection there with like the legend of Dracula and all that kind of stuff. And then just in general, the Carpathian Mountains are kind of mysterious and eerie place, I suggest you look into it if you're into that kind of spooky stuff. And then just reiterating here the captions. And then this one here. However, the ones at Kosnestiae are well known and have large diameters. They are spherical and egg-shaped, but many of them have twined, complicated forms. One of the features of the Kosnestiae Trovants is the presence of numerous micro-Trovants, smaller and spherical tubercles, which are the surface of the big ones. Besides the big Trovants, there are a lot of smaller, imperfect ones, but with a clear tendency to spherical, the study says. All these Trovants are placed in yellow, fine, medium, or coarse sands containing also fine gravel. Okay, so that's the end of the article. So we can go back up and look at the gallery. Here there's 6 pictures, and then I took the liberty to find some more. So we'll have some more after this. Okay, so we'll just go through the ones here. Okay, so this first one, interesting, looks like a head, arm, shoulder, and then back, and then like pelvic area, and then like thighs or something. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying it's very interesting that that's what it looks like. It looks like it's been cut off here at the bicep. And then, I mean, you know, I know that sometimes the mind sees what it wants to see, but this isn't that much of a stretch here. Okay. This one's interesting. This one will look like a disc. And then muscle as well. Not saying it is. Not saying it is. I'm just saying it looks like it. That's all. If people, I know there's people within the research community, the old world community, that believe in and I've seen better evidence than this. This isn't even the best evidence, but I'm not even dismissing that theory at all. I'm just saying that that's not what I'm implying. I'm saying that if you want to do your own research into what caused the specific shapes and formations of these Trovants, then, and if you think that they grow faster than 2-inch, personally I think they grow faster than that, but that's just me, because if they start out like a pebble and they grow 2 inches every 1,000 years, you know, people say, well, these things are millions and millions and millions of years old. Sure, fine, whatever, but you know me, I don't exactly just take everything at face value. This one's weird. I'm going in this blind here with the gallery pictures. I haven't seen these. I saw the ones I, you know, found that I'm going to show after this. But anyways, so yeah, this one's pretty weird. It's almost like a guy's kneeling over, and it's amazing how many of these have like arms, like the other ones, you know, the previous ones, and then this head thing, this bulb is coming out. And say, where did it start? They say it starts like a pebble. So where do they know where it starts, or does it just kind of go out in whichever direction? It's influenced by other rocks. They kind of fuse and meld with the Trovants. You know, like what's all this? It's fused to like this. You know. Anyways, getting off on a tangent here. Okay, so here's some other ones that are interesting here. They're just kind of like freestanding. These are the smaller ones, and then they have like some texture. Okay, and then this like eggplant looking one that's been busted open. So I think people chip these off. I think people have been chipping them off for a long time. They like to take a piece of it and see if it grows on their own, or do experiments with it or whatever. You know, scratching things, you know, carving things on it. I mean, it'd be cool jewelry, or it'd be cool for a sculpture, you know, to say that you used one of these Trovants, one of these living stones. Like I said, you know, okay, so that's it with that. So then I found some other pictures here. So here's some other ones, and we can zoom in on these ones, and these ones are better quality. Okay, so you zoom down, you can see people's footprints here and stuff like that. But these ones, I can zoom in on, and there's more texture and stuff like that. We can really kind of study these things a little bit better. It's very interesting, the round shape on most of them, this almost like disc shape or cylindrical shape. And these ones are kind of more, these ones must be older, obviously, and they have this kind of patina on it, like maybe it was covered in mud, or they dug it out or something like that, or maybe somebody had a fire near it. Almost looks like smoke damage or something. But what's really interesting is, yeah, these bulbous areas, and then they have almost like a, you know, they have this roll. They have this crevasse here and there, and then it's almost like fat. Like that's what I would, compare it to. If we're speaking like in anatomical, anatomical terms. And then up here, it's rougher. Like this is smooth and this is rough, all that kind of stuff. Okay. And then this one I thought was interesting too. It almost looks like people have been drilling into it. There's these holes here, and then this one has like a shell. That must be that sand shell that they were talking about. And then here's a broken one here. Okay. Now, I know what some people are thinking. They think, well, what does this have to do with the old world? What does this have to do with Tartaria? What does this have to do with the mud flood and all that stuff? Well, the thing is when you start getting into the old world, you start thinking about things in another sense of like, well, in the old world, these weren't as old. Now, of course, geologists and so forth will disagree with that, but that's not the point. The point is that we have to look at it in terms of what would the old world inhabitants, what would the old world civilizations have used these for? How would they perceive them? How were they treated? Were they used for building materials? Were they used for ritual purposes, ceremonial practices, medicine, decoration, any weapons, anything like that? So that's why it's important. Is we're looking at them as this interesting thing called living stones or Trovants. How did the old world perceive them? What were they used for in the old world? Because according to mainstream science, these would have been around then too, obviously being millions of years old. So yeah, that's kind of the angle that I'm looking at here. So this one's really interesting. This one is the most man-made looking one in my opinion, because you have, like they're talking about the rings, you can see like the rings of a tree. Okay, then obviously we know the comparison between rocks and trees, giant trees, mountains, things like that, but we'll save that for another video. But here it does look like wood, and it also does look like man-made. Part of a statue or something like that could have been. We don't know. We don't know what these things were used for thousands of years ago, or tens of thousands of years ago for that matter. By some Neolithic tribe, some old world, some antediluvian, pre-diluvian civilization. Okay, so this one I thought was like the most interesting kind of one in that sense. Just the texture reminds me of like pottery or some type of stone or earthenware. So I thought, and then there's like part of it over here. It fell off. Now I really wouldn't doubt that people were coming out here and shipping these things off and taking pieces, but this one looks like it was straight cut down, just right down the middle, like with precision. Like I don't know how it did that naturally. Very interesting. And I don't think that this was the original spot for it. It just doesn't seem right. But that's just me. What do I know? And then this one looks like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with like different like fungi and stuff like that, but this one looks like a morel, like the mushroom. Almost looks like some type of mushroom type thing. I don't know if it's a cloud mushroom or if it's a morel. But no, I guess morels are a little bit different. This looks like one of those like cloud puff marshmallow mushrooms or something like that. But anyways, that's just, so maybe these are like little ones that grow out. I don't know. These are the pebbles they were talking about. So theoretically, if you took one of these little guys, that it would start to grow if it was exposed to the elements. And then I think that's it. No, I got this one too. Okay. So this one's super bulbous. This one, like a giant head and a little body, or a big bowling ball, or it's very interesting. It's very. Let me just go back here for a second, real quick. Sorry. How we have some like this, right? We have these kinds of ones. I'll go back even further, real quick. Oh, that's not one. Where's those other ones at? Oh, we'll get to it. But there was it was in the article. It was in the article. I apologize. In the article, they had the. Let's see if I can go back to it real quick. Yeah. They had the ones that were more, like this, like pillars. Okay, that's all I wanted to see. And they got these ones back here too. So there's these kinds of ones that are more uniform in shape, like cylindrical or whatnot. And then you have these ones that are more like bulbous and all that kind of stuff. So it's interesting. There's definitely some variations. And that one had the shell. Okay, so let's go back here and zoom in. Yeah. And then this one, here a little in the background, it almost looked like it used to have one of these giant spherical head things, and it fell off or somebody. And then these rolls here, these crevasses, it reminds me so much of like when somebody has like a really fat, like a baby, like, or a person has like really like a lot of fat around their joints. Yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting. And here's one that's in kind of like a creek or a lagoon or some kind of pond or something. And once again, it looks like a tuber. It looks like a root vegetable, you know, like a ginger or ginseng or something like that. You see here, and then they just form. I guess these are like the new ones that come off, and there's some other ones there. Very interesting stuff. Yeah. And they tend to have these, like, they're porous. I guess that's kind of what the article was saying, is that they're porous, and then that it absorbs and it grows like that. But you know, you'd think more rocks did that. I don't know what makes these ones special, but I guess they just are. And then this one here, somebody built like a ring around it. Who knows how long that ring's been there, like protecting them, you know. And then what's up with this? I mean, somebody must have put them like that, because that's so symmetrical, you know. And these ones look like they're small enough to move around. This one not so much. This one looks pretty heavy and stuck in there. But these ones, you know, maybe somebody moved them around a little bit. Obviously this is man-made, maybe to protect it or to make it easier to find, like a landmark, you know, like this would be like a cool place to hang out and, you know, talk or something. So that's really interesting. That's not one. That's from another. That's from something else. That's not that. So yeah, obviously let me know what you guys think in the comments. Also let me know if I should be doing more of these kinds of videos with the news kind of articles, and then kind of going off of my own thing on that. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it on this picture because it's one of my favorites. It's just it's a nice photo. It's lit well and everything. Colors are good. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about these Trovants and these living stones, and the melted, you know, and all that kind of stuff. The melted rock theory and all that kind of stuff. And let me know if you think that this is actually just left over from something like that, or if these were used for something that the article didn't touch upon. And as always, thank you for watching. Goodbye.